Hey guys, what's up? It's Jimmy, and today we're going to be taking a look at Pokémon Crystal for the Game Boy Color. Pokémon Gold and Silver were a humongous step forward for the franchise. Crystal version includes many of the things that we've grown to love about Gold and Silver, and adds a little bit more to the mix. For starters, Pokémon have animated sprites upon entry into battle. This feature wouldn't return into Pokémon Emerald, and it was nice to see the series do something new with the presentation, on top of going full color. A few cosmetic changes were made, such as Ice Path becoming a much more fitting blue color, the Burn Tower actually looking burned down, Lance's room getting a makeover to look a lot more dragon-like, and the Goldenrod department store gaining a roof area. Pokémon that didn't look much like their official art also got sprite updates. For example, Spinarak in Gold and Silver was purple and not green like the official art. Probably one of the biggest additions was the first inclusion of a female player character, Chris. Judging by early artwork for Red and Blue, this may have been planned since Generation 1. However, it wasn't included until Crystal version. This was a pretty big change, and it's become a default option in every generation to follow. Another change was instead of all 3 legendary beasts being found as roaming Pokémon, Suicune was singled out and given a bit more focus in the story. The new character Ucine, who dresses like a complete tool, is enamored by Suicune and wants to find it for himself. In various parts of the game, when you run into Suicune, Ucine will appear and start telling you things about it. And in Cianwood City, he'll actually battle you. Suicune will later appear at the Tin Tower to battle you, and you'll be able to capture it here. When the battle is over, Ucine will appear, and he'll finally give up chasing Suicune. Crystal also introduced the Battle Tower to the series. It's located just outside Olivine City, but unlike future installments, there's only one battle option here. You'll battle 7 trainers at a time, and if you win, you'll receive a prize. One really interesting addition that Crystal brought to the series was unfortunately not carried over when the game was localized. It was the Pokémon Mobile System GB. Using a Japanese cell phone and the Game Boy's mobile phone adapter, players could connect their game to their phones and receive events and battle players online. That's right, the Pokémon games allowed for online multiplayer even before Pokémon Diamond and Pearl. The adapter was used for many other things and was pretty interesting, but I'll save that for another time. Using the adapter, players were able to get the coveted GS Ball. The GS Ball was an item that was a major plot point in the Pokémon anime. It was the reason we got the Orange Island saga. Many theories created by fans about what the GS Ball was used for were somewhat true. It was linked to Celebi. While it gets dumped with Kurt for all eternity in the anime, in the games if you bring it to the shrine in Ilex Forest, Celebi will appear and you'll be able to capture it. The event was translated for localized releases, but there's no actual way to access it without a GameShark code. From what I understand, there was actually a Celebi distribution in the US, but being able to capture it wasn't an option. Now for something I feel I need to address. About a year ago, I did a review of Pokémon Gold and Silver. I didn't do much critiquing of the games, and I don't think my score holds up anymore. It's an old video, and I like to think I've improved in terms of quality since then. So I figured I'd do a quick addition to this video explaining the things I didn't talk about. All the good things I said about Gold and Silver still stand, and they apply to Crystal as well. The games look fantastic for the Game Boy, and take huge advantage of what the system can do graphically. The game's music is outstanding, and probably one of my favorite soundtracks in the Pokémon series. However, there are some complaints I have. This mainly applies to the level scaling. Because the layout of the Johto region allows players to do the events in Olivine and Cianwood before the events in Mahogany and the Lake of Rage, and vice versa, the levels are all rather low on both paths, making it rather easy and not much of a challenge to fight the trainers and wild Pokémon. However, it does make it a big pain in the ass to level grind for the gym leaders, who, keep in mind, all still keep rather high levels. Now while this is a bit annoying, it's not as bad as the level scaling in the Kanto region. Most trainers have incredibly weak Pokémon for that far in the game, making training for the incredibly high-level gym leaders an even bigger pain. And don't even get me started on level grinding before Red. On top of this, Kanto is just rather barren. Yes, there is a bit to do here, but many of the dungeons have been laughably scaled down, like Mount Moon, or just completely removed like Viridian Forest. I know this was probably due to data constraints, but come on, at least give us other things to do as compensation besides a power plant quest and gym leader battles. Overall, while I do have complaints, Pokémon Gold, Silver, and Crystal have held up wonderfully over the years, and are definitely something I suggest you check out. One thing to keep in mind though, is that the save battery in your copy will most likely be run dry. If you don't want to fix it, which is rather simple to do by the way, then I recommend checking out the remakes of the games instead. I give Pokémon Gold, Silver, and Crystal a 9 out of 10. Like I said, they're a great part of Pokémon history, and I definitely think you should give these games a chance. Thank you Zach Foles for sending me a copy of Crystal to review, and thank you for watching this video. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and I will see you guys next time with more videos.